Hello and welcome to this Wednesday episode of Rolling with the Spectrum. What are we going to talk about today? Well, you better sit down, grab a coffee, grab a brew, grab a beer, whatever you want to have a drink of, grab a bicky and sit down and we'll talk about tonight's topic on Rolling with the Spectrum. Let's go. Hey guys, have you ever been in the shopping centre and seen that one kid have a meltdown, or seen your autistic child come home from school after having a great day and then just explode on the way when they get home? Well, this could be the video for you. Today I am talking about PDA, so pathological demand avoidance. So what is PDA for short? So it's a pathological demand avoidance is the behavioural profile within the autistic spectrum. It is characterised by an extreme anxiety, overwhelming need to avoid everyday demands. Individuals with PDA, both children and in adults, typically do not want to respond to the standard behavioural interventions. What does that mean? Could mean a lot of things. A big one that I have noticed in my household alone, I can't talk for anyone else's household, but definitely in, what the hell is that up my bum? What happens sort of in my household, a lot of things to do with PDA, and even out when she's already in a meltdown and someone with authority tells her to calm down, get over yourself, blah, blah, blah. Stuff people should just leave the parent to deal with, I guess. The traditional strategy is often worsen their anxiety, causing escalations, aggression, or complete shutdowns. In my house, in my case, I have the luxury of having meltdowns. Obviously, I provide my daughter a safe place to come home to after school, after being out with whatever activity we've been doing and so on. So essentially, she holds everything together in a sense, the best that she can when she comes home. She needs to pretty much neutralise to the safe place that she's going to. If I do ask her to, say, for instance, put her school bag away, bang, explosion, we could have a meltdown just for me saying that. Usually a inanimate object will get thrown, or, worst case, her sister has been attacked by her during these PDA meltdowns after school and after being out in a overwhelming environment. So it's a touchy subject, I guess. But a lot of time out when they are out in general public, and the authoritarian type person tells them to do something, they're just not responding the way that a neurotypical person would, I guess. It triggers whatever, probably somewhere in their amygdala part of the brain, and the fight, flight and freeze response kicks in. So it is a very, it's a very fine line when you have a child with PDA and is also on the spectrum with touch of ADHD thrown in there. So shorthand, what are the origins on PDA? Let me just put this down here. Sorry about my fat hand. Hands. Do you like my hands? Sorry, Blake, you can't see the sign just yet. When I sign off tonight, I'll show you the sign. So, shorthand origins of PDA. I'd like to do a shout out here to Autism Awareness Australia. I'm taking it from their website, plus throwing my own spin on it, so it's not plagiarism or copyright. So the concept of PDA dates back to the 1980s. I remember that. I was born in the 80s. I'm that old, yes, sorry. British psychologist Elizabeth Newson identified a group of children whose behaviours did not align with controversial autism presentations. These children exhibited typical autism markers, sensory difficulties. However, they also showed a notable capacity for imaginative play. This is where my own daughter kicks in with her love for dolls. What was mine? I used to make my imaginative play. I used to have cars, Lego. Growing up in Australia, I had big backyards. When the new houses were built, essentially I had Tonka trucks in the backyard and so on. Sensory marks, however, they showed notable capacity for imagination and surface level social skills. So that's not too bad. They are social creatures, these autistic kids, okay? Let's not get this wrong here. Some crave it, some back off from it. Like, it's a spectrum, we know. So alongside a profound avoidance of demand. So, for instance, if I'm playing dolls with my daughter and she goes, "Can you get the bottle for me?" I went, "No, you can go get it. Oh, you get the bottle, they're your dolls." That me being the authoritative figure, she will avoid that demand for me to go get it, because in her brain it triggers her flight or fight freeze response in her brain. So we could end up with essentially a meltdown if I don't get the bottles for her. This goes back to tier 1 of the iceberg I mentioned, when autistic kids look lazy. They are not lazy. It's essentially a byproduct of that PDA before it works out into a massive meltdown and so on. So in 2003, Newsom formally described PDA as a distinct autism profile, validating what many families have intuitively recognised. So I've definitely seen it in her. I have at times seen it in myself as well, but not to the extent that she has had it. So PDA is not recognised as a separate diagnostic category within the DSM-5. However, it's a national guideline for assessments and diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, specifically acknowledging PDA as a behavioural profile of autism. I am listening to a pretty good podcast, which hopefully I will leave in the description if it will let me. Obviously don't have permission to put it there. If not, I will mention it when I do the outro this evening. But yeah, it's a neurological disorder, I guess, in the brain. Can it just be a category on its own? At the moment, it's not. It's part of the autistic spectrum. Can it be its own disability? Maybe. I suppose a bit more research has to be done in that field, I guess. So why is PDA controversial? Why is it controversial? I don't know. Let's have a look. So autistic people frequently avoid tasks due to anxiety or sensory overload, or difficulties with transitions and executive functions. The podcast I'm actually listening to as well is autonomy. Once they lose their autonomy to do something, the PDA can kick in, and you get that avoidance for doing a certain task if they are told to do it and it's not autonomous in their brain. So a good way to sort of get around this is instead of saying, "Go get me that ball over there," it's, "Think we should go over to the ball and pick it up." So there's way you word your questions to your child, which in turn should divert their way of thinking from "I have to do it" to "That's a good idea, I might go and do it," or "I will do it." So there's, it's like I said, it's a fine line between what PDA is to avoid a meltdown or to have a meltdown. So parents out there who are living this, I am one of them. Hats off to you guys. You are amazing people for obviously putting up with this. It's difficult. It's very tiring on the parent. So yeah, demands extended this even enjoyable activities such clear benefits of the individual. So yeah, even enjoyable, like I said, enjoyable games that we play can end up in a meltdown if we have, like we're walking on eggshells, I guess. So we have to tiptoe around how we ask questions to move forward in playing the game that we're playing. Unfortunately, these behaviours are often misunderstood as deliberate defiance or manipulation, consequence for families and frequently encounter inappropriate advice. Good example of this inappropriate advice. Shout out to the parent in Kmart in Rockingham a week ago who wanted to fight me because my daughter was having an autistic meltdown due to PDA. So go boop yourself. If you're watching this vlog, go to this website and have a look. I'll name drop their website and put it in the description for you. But yeah, you do have, I'm going to say the word, dickhead parents who think it's your child, especially the boomers out there. Looking at you boomers. Not all boomers, not all Gen whatever hell I am, millennials or some crap, or Gen X. That it's, if you know it, if you know, you know. If you don't, it could come across as a shit kid, a spoilt brat, a kid with no manners, a kid. Oh, I've had everything thrown at me. So that's just water of a duck's back. You've got to, when they are in this meltdown state and you have to control them, you sort of got to block out that noise. And for some reason the other day, I was in that fight or flight myself and I had to keep my levels down. What I found was the people who were being just absolute dicks about it, I could identify, but the people who actually helped out and actually did help me were people who have lived this before, people who work in that field. So if you guys are watching, big shout out, and I hope to catch up with a couple of yous over the next month or two after school holidays and the kids go back and everything's sort of calmed back down to its normality, especially in my household anyway. So common misconceptions include assumptions of inadequate parenting. Yep, get that all the time. Even got that from a paediatrician once. So again, go yourselves. Inconsistent discipline, despite a clear evidence that a controversial intervention such as schedules or reward-based approach usually, I'm not good with words, I'm slightly dyslexic, exacerbate PDA anxiety rather than alleviate it. If you know what I mean. Just I'm not good at reading. So that's part of my spectrum, I guess. Which, Friday, I'm going to see my psychiatrist. Saw the psychologist today, had to explain what PDA is for. I don't know if the psychologist done it today to see my level of understanding on PDA or whether she just didn't know herself. So, each to their own. I smashed it, by the way. Got an A+. A+. PDA versus oppositional defiance disorder. So a lot of these kids get misdiagnosed with ODD. However, it may not be ODD. It could be PDA. PDA is more of a neurological, actually, I don't know the difference between them. Let's just read this. And then maybe the next video on Sunday will be ODD. That's a good idea. Thank you. High five. Fist bump. Fist bump, McQuacker. All right. Pathological demand avoidance is often confused with oppositional defiance disorder, ODD, due to service level behavior similarities, such as no compliance and resistance to authority, However, the underlying motivations differ significantly. There you go. PDA behaviours stem from extreme anxiety and neurological inability to comply and regulate, detach from the situation, and autonomize the situation as well when they feel like they lost control. Inability to comply. Individuals with PDA typically lack awareness or acceptance of their hierarchical social structures. So mum and dad, yes, you're the authoritarian, you're a social structure in the hierarchy of your family or society, whatever, that just goes out the window, and they don't give a proverbial. By contrast, ODD is characterized by initial defiance and conscious rejection of authority and rules. So delinquent kids getting arrested by the cops going, F you, policeman, you're a dickhead, F off, is more ODD than more PDA. PDA is they don't know that that's a policeman and they're still going off their brains with a meltdown. In layman's terms. Sorry if I offend anyone with the way I'm speaking. I'm just trying to get it out there so ordinary Joes like myself can understand it. So distinction between the inability, PDA, and refusal. So inability and refusal. So PDA is the inability to understand the hierarchy, where refusal is ODD, where you make a conscious decision to go, F you, policeman. Not that I'm doing that. It's just figuratively for the video. Don't come at me, YouTube. I want to try and make this go viral. But yeah, signs and characteristics of PDA. So common behaviours associated with PDA include persistence, refusal of everyday demands, of instructions, school refusal and withdrawal, which I am living every school day. Not so bad at the moment to get her there, it's keeping her there is the problem. Again, that podcast I'm listening to, the name of which escapes me at the moment, which I will put into the description, even if it's just the name and not the actual link, because I don't know if I can do that legally. It's the loss of autonomy in the classroom, where the teachers are like, get out your pens, we're going to write this from 1 to 5, A to B. That loss of autonomy and that structure of you do it this way doesn't compute with their pathological, their PDA essentially. It's so they will become defiant and they will possibly end up in some form of meltdown in the fight, flight, freeze response. In saying this, it can be avoided if the classroom is tidy, quiet, smaller people in the class, smaller classroom sizes. Teacher knows what they're dealing with. So, yeah, I got a phone call coming in from Blake. Let's answer on my thingo. Hello.
Bonjour, how you going?
Good. I am just in the middle of a recording at the moment. Your voice is all over the video.
Oh, great. Hello, rolling with the spectrum.
This
is Autism Addict.
Yep, if you don't know who he is, go over to his channel, like, subscribe, get down with his beats, walks on the park with the dogs, you name it. He does it. And
falling on my ass on rollerblades.
Falling on his bum on rollerblades. And who did you have on your channel the other day?
Well, are you doing a live stream?
Not doing a live stream. It'll be out tonight once I edit it.
Well, turn it off.
Hey?
Talk to me.
All right, I'll turn it off and I'll be back with the... I'll be back. All right, take care. I'll see you for the next second half. Actually, we'll call this intermission. And so my viewers can go for a break. We are back after the interval break. Thank you for, well, to me, it was a break. To you guys, it was just a bleep in the editing. But I hope you refilled, restocked your brew mugs, your beer, your cordial, your juice, whatever you drink, and you got some more bickies. In Australia, we call biscuits bickies, or cookies, as the US call it. So signs and characteristics of PDA. If I've said this, then I'm saying it again. Just fast forward this bit if you need to. Okay, no, we have read that. So I'm going to go down why recognizing PDA matters. So, understanding PDA has a significant implications on professionals in education, mental health, child protection, and the justice system. Misunderstanding and misdiagnosis can lead to inappropriate interventions, family breakdown, and emotional harm. Early identification of PDA and tailored support plans significantly improve outcomes. Controversially, the lack of awareness and perpetuated cycles of blame and ineffective interventions. So if you don't get on this early, the interventions mean bugger all. Lucky enough, I have found this, or the ex and I have found this pattern very early with our daughter. She tells me she's got this down pat. I don't know. I'm not going to make any comment on it, but I certainly don't have this because I pretty much deal with the same sort of characteristics as what the daughter does. So, yes, the early child, autistic children with PDA often display distinctive characteristics compared to other children on the autism spectrum. Young children with PDA might initially demonstrate advanced social skills, vivid imagination, or even unusual developed language abilities. Yes, so that developed language abilities, the oldest daughter actually used to watch a lot of British TV and talk with a rather British accent. So, and a lot of people, I've watched Love on the Spectrum, so I kind of get that there are people on that show that have certain accents that don't really align with where they're from. So, makes sense. Caregivers are often notified on the ongoing struggles with simple tasks such as following basic instructions, dressing independently, managing daily life, self-care routines, yada, yada, yada. The PDA enables parents and professionals to offer a tailored system to outset significantly improved long-term outcomes. Here at this particular house where I'm filming, don't look at my tattoos, I'm more self-conscious. Yeah, so I have no problems with getting a change for school, getting ready for bed, having a shower and stuff like that. That's stuff she enjoys doing. That's become autonomous now. I have a bit of an issue when I ask her to take her tablets in the morning for her ADHD. That can lead to a bit of defiance there. Don't know if that's more ODD or PDA, but we'll go with the PDA route on this one. School, obviously high demands and flexible routines, traditional behaviours. The classroom's not set up for kids with autism. It's just simple as that. The podcast I was listening to, like I said, I will name drop them in the description. The lady that does that is a mother of 2 children, one with PDA. She doesn't really say autism, she just says PDA. I think that's for the podcast itself. However, one of the things she did mention, I just lost my train of thought because I'm on the spectrum too. But yeah, the autonomy. The autonomy is kicking in with bedtime, getting ready for school, yada, yada, yada. Just not for the tablets at the moment and not for put on her shoes. And that's where I, like I said, come unstuck with the fact that I ask her and the PDA sets in, and then we could have a bit of a battle with taking tablets in the morning. I think the mum's got this sort of down pat and says it differently to what I do. So I'll have to get her word on this to try and make it easier at my house than her house. And in saying that, we do have different parenting styles, but we do try and tailor our parenting styles to marry each other and be in line for the sake of our daughter. Sometimes it doesn't happen for certain reasons, but hey, that's life. You know, people are different. I'm different. Like I said, I am getting diagnosed with autism in the next couple of months, so watch out for this space. There will be a whole series on my life from neurotypical to neurodivergent. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. That's sort of, and what I have to do to unmask myself and so on. School, I'm not going to harp on about that. Obviously, they lose their autonomy at school. That's taken away from them, and there's always going to be a figurehead there that's going to tell them what to do, and that just don't compute well with our autistic children in general. Well, most people really, but more so our younger kids. So the big one here, adults. Hands up, who is an adult? Kind of, I don't know. So adults, a lot of the research into adult PDA is limited. Limited, see? Because most of them are probably in jail, the poor bastards. What didn't mean to bloody stab their girlfriend or set the house on fire. It's just PDA that happened, and they are targeted with this criminal act. So maybe there should be a bit more research into it, and maybe less criminals clogging up the prison system where they could be getting the alternative help that they need. That's just my view on it. So, and don't take this as gospel either, okay? So yeah, although adult research into adults with PDA is limited, the anecdotal evidence suggests many remain undiagnosed. Oh, what did I say before I read it? Adults often discover their own PDA profile when seeking support for their children. Hi, I have PDA, and my name is Jamie, and I have PDA. Oh, well done. Yeah. So you know what I'm trying to get at here, guys. Okay, so we're seeking resource and support to better understand PDA in adults. It is valuable to listen to both qualified professionals and those who live the experience. I must be an expert in this field, which I am definitely not. I struggle with my own PDA. I struggle managing my own daughter's PDA. She is very much PDA in with her spectrum. It's a tough gig, especially when I'm learning a lot more about myself through my daughter and through her diagnosis. So yeah, it's definitely valuable to listen to people out there who have lived it. Definitely listen to podcasts, read the scientific evidence. I know it doesn't say there's too much on that part, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. It's live and you learn, do what you can to avoid the meltdowns, and if it means undoing what we already know as a society, like trying to explain it to someone the other day that the daughter's having a bit of a meltdown, she's asking for her iPad. Normally with naughty kids, you say, no iPad. But to me, I have to go against everything I was taught as a child and as a young adult to give her that iPad, because that iPad is going to be the one to calm her sensory needs down and help regulate her emotions. I don't care what people think about that comment, what I just said then. I am just doing what I can to support my child and make it a more comfortable environment for her to live in, for myself to live in, as I'm learning a lot more about myself. For her older sibling, who does get attacked after school when the daughter, when the young one is trying to come back down to baseline. Another factor I want to throw in that wasn't mentioned in Autism Awareness Australia's notes on PDA is another PDA symptom. Because our kids are so highly strung throughout the day with PDA, navigating the classroom, navigating life that's just not suited to them, that typical people have made for us neurodivergent people. Like I said, who's to say they're the wrong ones and we're the right ones? Maybe they should conform to us. But unfortunately, we always got to conform to this left or whatever, you know what I mean. All right. So in saying that, when they're highly strung throughout the day and they come down to baseline, come home from school, bang, they've gone back up again because there's rules at home as well they got to abide by. Right, the autonomy starts kicking in, right, it's dinner time, it's shower time, it's pajama time, it's relax time. Just because that kid didn't eat all their dinner doesn't mean they're not hungry. It may get 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and that kid is asking for food. Why? Because they have equalized in their environment. So their chemical in their brain has gone down, their amygdala has calmed itself down, you know, every part of the other bit of the brain is doing its bit. And then it kicks in, oh, hang on a minute, I haven't eaten in 4 or 5 hours. Therefore, the body needs food for the energy. So these kids are going to ask for food at silly hours of the evening, when most times you could tell your kid, no, it's too late, you're going to bed. Neurotypical kids will often be agreeable to that. Unfortunately, kids with PDA or kids on the spectrum won't necessarily agree to this because they haven't eaten all day, because they've been at this fight or flight mode for a vast majority of the day, where eating doesn't even kick in. It doesn't even regulate in their brain, or drinking, but survival does. So when their survival brain does start slowing down from fight or flight, it goes into, oh, I need to eat. So that's where we get the whole spectrum of fight or flight in its truest form, is in these kids who have or deal with PDA and the parents who struggle with it on a daily basis. I am with you guys. I understand. Well, I try to understand. I'm not saying I do, because I probably don't. I don't have the answers. I don't have a cure. I don't have a lot of things in this subject, but what I have spoken about for the last half hour or so is what I've learned pretty much over the last week. It's kind of a new subject for me. It has opened my eyes on how to parent my child a little bit better than what I've been doing. And to me, that's a win. If you can better yourself in certain parts of your life, your child's life, and just in life in general, then I think we're on the way to, you know, success, I guess, to make this world a more neurodivergent place, a more equitable place for our kids with these neurological disorders such as PDA, you know, autism, ADHD, people like myself who have bipolar and that, who struggle with stuff like that too. There's a lot of our schizophrenic brethrens out there and whatnot, and even to the point where other disabilities like blindness, you know, deafness, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. Everyone needs a chance to be heard and have the opportunity to strive in this. We only got one life. You know, who cares if you've got a disability? You know, people should be just more accepting. Same with gender, race, and whatnot, and sexuality. Like, who cares? Who cares if they're gay? Who cares if they're transgender? It doesn't affect me. That's what they want. That's what they got. They're happy. Boom. Let's move on. And that's exactly what type of I'm driving for our autistic children and other disabilities in that respect. So again, thank you for watching. I'm going to shift over to this side so you see the Peace, Love and Autism pillow, my signature sign off. So remember guys, to help raise awareness for autism, please tell your friends, your family, your co-workers, your unco-workers, tell everybody. You know, let's get this on the world stage, go viral with this stuff. And remember, peace, love, and autism. like and subscribe. Love yous.